So with this last snack, this one's called Secret Bells. We'll need our string again and a scissor, but this time you want to tie a piece of string or tie two strings. I hope you can see this. Maybe take down the screen share for just a moment. There we go. So you can see that I've got a coat hanger that I've tied a couple of strings to. And if you've got a small object, you could, like a spoon or something, just tie one string to it. But if you've got an oven grate or something like that, maybe tie two. And here's another reason for tying two. What you do next is wrap the ends of the string around your fingers a couple of times, put them in your ears like this. And then you probably can't see that I've got a desk right under me, and I'm gonna bang the coat hanger against the desk like that. And oh my, I'm hearing like an incredibly loud noise. Another way you can do that though, if you have don't have a hard desk, right? You just take a pen or some hard object, a plastic pen, put your one finger in your ear, and with your other hand, tap your object like that, okay? So that's what you want to do, and maybe try a couple or few objects in the next minute or two. And then what we want to do is have people type just multi-step instruction. Let's screen share now that you've seen me perform how to do it. And what I wanted to do is describe how this is going to lead into narrative writing. And so, writing is a process. And sometimes when you think about these genres, you want to break it down into steps. And so the two main features of narrative writing are descriptive words and sequences of events. And so in order to take them one at a time, let's say, as you're listening to what your metal objects sound like with a string tied to them and the string in your ear, just write down descriptive words about the qualities of the sound that your object makes. So you might have a big list of words or a small list, but just try to write down a few words. And then what we'll do in a little while is we'll take some of those words and use them to write a narrative. So with that, take a minute or two, bang your objects, and jot down some words. Take a moment to finish up what you're doing. Try to think of any descriptive words about it. And then go ahead and, if you would please, type the object that you were listening to, and then maybe one or maybe your favorite or a couple of the descriptive words you wrote about it. And if anyone would be willing to unmute and go ahead and just share orally, that would be really nice. And as these pour in, I'll just start reading a couple of them. Julie said that it sounds like a low wind chime. Julie, can you share what object you used that sounded like a low wind chime?
Sure, I went and grabbed a hanger and got some string. Oh, okay. Actually, a shoelace.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the hanger and the shoelace, and it I hit it against the table like that with it in my ears, and it sounded like a low, like a dong, like a bell.
I love how you're describing it like a dong, an onomatopoeia. I think that's what's called, an onomatopoeia. Lovely. Someone else said, mine was a very loud gong sound. This is Heather. As it hit the table and bounced back, the length of time it took for the vibration to stop was 10 to 15 seconds. That's a long sustain. Lovely. A metal grate clang loud, deep pitch reverberates. That's Diana. Maggie used a grate. Maggie, any words to describe that?
I put it up higher. Okay. It sounds like out of tune church bells, like the kind you'd hear by a haunted cemetery or in a dystopian movie.
And same like the last writer. Did it kind of sound like a church bell and then just stop right away, or did it go on for a while?
It was sustained. I was looking for the word for sustained, like the musical word.
Yep.
But I just put sustained on there.
Lovely. Okay. Other people use a hanger with a string. Someone used a measuring cup and it was muffled and deep. Okay, we all have those. Clanking, clunking waves. All right, and a spoon, this is our first spoon of the day, was sustained and crisp. It sounded like the noise was coming from inside my head. So we just have a lot to work with in terms of these descriptive words. And so so our next step is going to be to write a narrative and share some of our narratives with each other. And again, the other part of a narrative is describing a sequence of events. Now, no one's ever said that a narrative has to be sequences of events in the lives of people, although that's what most of us think about when we think about narratives. They can be a sequence of events about anything that you can describe. And they don't have to be long. So a few seconds or up to 10 or 15 seconds will be enough to actually get a sequence in. And if if it helps to have some kind of like a sentence starter, you could start with first I heard, and then I heard, and finally, anything like that that gets you into a sequential writing mode. So go ahead and try to write a narrative describing your favorite sound that you heard from your object, and then either pop it in the chat box or give us a minute. But then when I say now is a good time to share, go ahead and share it out loud. All right, almost all the heads are up. Okay, keep finishing while you listen to us. If you're still writing, and then pop it in the chat box and or say it out loud. And maybe we can start with Rosanna. Do you mind reading what you wrote?
Okay. Well, okay. As I do you want me to just read what I wrote, or?
Yeah.
Okay, I said that the sound as I hit my hand, it was just causing vibration. And then when I hit it in different places, the frequency seemed to change, and so did the vibration. It seemed to change. But then I got really excited. I had to stay muted because I wanted to learn more about sound. So I started banging everything on my desk and just trying to find different sounds.
Thank you. And how wonderful that you got excited and banged everything on your desk. That's lovely. Someone else. I want to ask someone who might not have shared anything out loud yet. And I'm using a little wait time. It gets a little more awkward online because dead air is different, online than live. But
I haven't shared yet, but I didn't type this in the chat. But I wrote that first I heard a clinking sound because I used a fork on one of those racks that you kind of look like the things you put on the screen. So first I heard a clinking sound as I glided the fork, and almost simultaneously I felt the vibration of the rack in my hands. So that's pretty much all of the descriptive words I've used so far.
I like them clanking, a lot of opportunity to even make up words, but that's a good one. All right. Tom, do you mind sharing what you wrote?
I shall read it to you. Striking my shiny pot lid with my large serving spoon produced a loud and lingering, vibrating clang as an orchestra cymbal.
Nice. And again, I think I asked this before. Did it just clang once and then it was over, or did it go on for a while? And if it went on for a little while, did it change?
It went on for a few seconds.
Nice. And just quieter and quieter, or
Yes.
Okay. So
the vibration and the sound seemed to decrease as it went to the end of it.
So that sequence part, that's what I was asking about, is an important part of the narrative. And That's why I was asking for a little bit of elaboration. All right. Kathy, would you mind sharing what you wrote?
Sure, let me scroll back up. So I just said, so when you said it doesn't have to be a person, you said we typically write from a person's point of view, but I wrote from my pot lid's point of view. So all of a sudden I was swinging through the air, then oomph, contact. I slammed into the table, and clanging through my head were waves of regret. When will the vibrations stop?
Fabulous. William Faulkner got into the head of a dog. You got into the head of a pot or a pot lid. That's fabulous. And so as you're listening to these uses of descriptive words and changeover and events unfolding over time, again, that's a part of a narrative, and you can probably think of many different events that you could write a narrative about that might be a little bit different than, let's say, the motivation of a character in a book. Let's take one or two more. Adele, I don't think we've heard from you yet. Would you mind reading yours?
Sure. I did not type it in the chat box, and my internet's been lagging, so hopefully you guys can hear this. So I said the first metal fish bottle opener proved to be quite clunky and appeared more like it was pulled from the water on a hook than providing me with the sounds I searched for. My next item, a spoon, was clove hitch tied to my string. Upon it wobbling around erratically, as I leaned down to the table, I thought it would fall out. The clove hitch clamped down tight, and it rung in my ears for what seemed like forever.
All right.
That was all I wrote.
Yay. And last but not least, I just want to encourage people who haven't tried this. If you haven't done it with a large object like an oven grate, I think Danielle has one. And do you mind sharing what you did with what you heard with that oven grate and what you wrote?
I do have an oven grate. My video's not starting. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So yes, very large. Well, with the background, it kind of blends in. And when I put the string around it and I hit it against the table, I didn't think it would be so loud, but it was surprisingly loud, like really loud church bells. And I thought it was very pleasing, and it did last for a very long time.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Hopefully that will motivate other people to try that too. And there's so many qualities to it. As it changes, you get these church bell kind of wong, 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 wong sounds, and there's so much to it when you start unpacking it that I think there's a lot of opportunity for this kind of writing that we want to produce. All right, so with that, I want to hand it over to Rachel and have her take us through some of the, how this works with kids.